All right. Tell us who you are.
All right, I am Brandon Starocci. I am the creator of Avalon Comic. I also work alongside with his name's Alan Dingfelder, which is a co-writer, and Demetrius Nastos, which is the artist of Avalon. And we've been working on this project for probably the last 3 years now. It finally just released out in March this year. We're about, I want to say, 8 issues in. Writing wise, it's Avalon just going to be an ongoing series until I mess something up, like I run out of ideas or something that ends up messing up or whatever. But yeah, we plan on making an ongoing series. But that's basically my little background with that. It's been a project we've been working on for a while. We've had a lot of people kind of touch it and make sure it's as good as it can possibly be and all that stuff. And we're excited about it. We're excited for what's to come with Avalon as well.
What gave you the inspiration to make this book?
The original idea came from when I was in high school, so and like my senior year in high school, which was like probably 8 years ago at this point, and I didn't know anything. I just loved movies. I love this kind of genre and all that stuff, and I was just writing a bunch of ideas down and like blank paper. Never knew what to do with them because I didn't know anything. I wasn't smart enough to know all that stuff. I didn't even decide to research anything. I just kind of wrote all these ideas down that I have in my head, and never did anything with them. Then Felder, probably, I want to say 4 years after high school, and then we kind of collaborated and all that stuff because he didn't this way to do, and it was like I said, a 3-year process of trying to feel this out because it was new to him, it was new to me, and then we kind of had some people help us out along the way, and we came up with this thing, and yeah, we're excited about it.
So the art choice that you did, the whole book is in black and white except the last page.
Yeah.
Why is the last page in color?
So a little half. I'm not gonna be like a cool idea because I don't cheaper. It's also cool. I like black and white, comic. I just like the look a lot better. So for you as the readers, it's nice for you to read this comic and see it in black and white, and you can imagine things, in your head. But then the last page is kind of like a splash of this is what we're thinking. This is where our brains are at with it. You know what I'm saying? Like just stupid little things like what color shirt is Andy wearing, or what color what is this? But then we give you what is in our brain, and you guys can kind of dictate whatever you want in the first 23 pages.
How many? You said that you have 8 issues written. How many issues do you have in print form? Just the one?
Just the one in print form. The artist just got done with issue 2 art-wise. We're working on promo art. We're working on other stuff. We're going to start a Kickstarter. I'm actually going to get a Kickstarter ready here on the 20th of this month, and we're going to post that on our media page, our social media pages, and all that stuff as well. But yeah, that is set to release. I'm almost positive we're going to do in July, depending on what our goal is for the Kickstarter, how long we want to do it. Because if we do the 60 days, it's probably going to have to push it to August. But I think we're going to stick with a 30-day right now. I have to talk to Alan and all of that stuff and see what he thinks. But we're looking at a July release for issue 2.
Okay. Are you in comic shops?
Yes, I am currently in my local comic shop and Books Galore, and there's another comic shop we are in. Probably, I think it's about 45 minutes away from my hometown. So, and we're slowly kind of getting the radius around and all that stuff. So a lot of the focus was local, kind of hitting the indie market, and then we're going to kind of expand outside of our hometown. as time goes on, and once we get more issues pumped out and everything, and we get more content and all that stuff as well. That's kind of our short-term goal.
Okay. Comic-Cons. Are you going to any events this year?
Yes, we're going to our local Comic-Con. It's in Erie Comic-Con. We're doing that in September this year. We plan on doing that one again next year. They have it every year here, and we plan on doing it probably that every year, and we're hoping to get bigger Comic-Cons around the area, like Pittsburgh's around us and all that stuff. Cleveland's around us, but Buffalo, we plan on next year. We plan on going bigger in those regards. But yeah, we're going to a Comic-Con this year in September. That's on our Facebook page as well.
What's the name of the Facebook page?
Our name of the Facebook page, you just search Avalon Comic, and it'll come up. It's the picture is just a bloodied up white A with a black background and all that stuff. So all that stuff has our events coming up and all that. It's pretty up to date with everything we do. I update it about every day,
Okay.
what's going on and all that stuff.
And what kind of things can they get on your Patreon?
The Patreon, we have currently just early access. We only have one tier right now, which is just $1. So if you want to just subscribe, anything helps. So just $1 right now. We plan on doing more tiers in the future. We want to gain more of a kind of like bring people in and all that stuff. So just $1 a month, you're going to get early access. Like the last post I posted on Patreon is the inking process of the cover of issue 2, which I find to be really exciting and cool.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see early inking of the issues in the future. So just stuff like that. And then you're going to see behind the scenes stuff as well. That's what you're going to kind of get. Not too much stuff right now, but while we're kind of building a base and all that stuff, it's just $1 a month. If anything helps, all the support we can get.
Right. That's pretty cool for $1.
Yeah. I feel like it's quite a bit for just $1. It's just $1 right now. Almost costs you nothing.
You got a website?
Yes, the Shopify.
Shopify?
Yeah, is that what it is? Is that what you're talking about?
I think it's redbubble.com/people.
Oh, yep. We have Redbubble. We have Redbubble out there. Yeah, that's still active. You can go on there. You can get any kind of merch if you know how Redbubble works. You can get phone cases, shirts, hats, stickers, magnets, whatever you want to get. We have, I think, 5 different arts things like these. We have the Avalon this on there that you can get that on shirts and stuff, and then we have just our basic like logo here, our title here as well, and then we have, I think, the Mrs. Martin bloodied up that we had from the Kickstarter as well. So there's quite a bit you can get on there. It's not too expensive. You can kind of there's a large variety of things that you can get on Redbubble to kind of rep what we got here. So
1282 Productions. What is 1282? Is that your zip code?
No, 1282 is Alan's and I's kind of production label that we're starting up alongside with the book. It's kind of something, again, we're independent. Nobody's kind of giving us money for this. So it's something that we're trying to get going alongside with the comic book obviously we're looking big picture with 1282. So right now, the only project we have is Avalon. And big picture wise, we'll do other projects in the future, we're hoping, and that's our goal with that. But 1282 is something that we're trying to brand with Avalon and all that stuff. That's Alan and me, 1282, and then there's going to be little things underneath that production wise. But that's just something that we're working on kind of alongside.
Do you have a film background? Because the way the comic flows, it kind of flows like you're watching a movie.
So, no, I don't. It was a dream of mine to be a director, and that was something that when I was in high school, that was my goal, and that's why this story was kind of coming up with it. Is my goal was to go to the New York Film Academy, and no money for that, nobody does. So I obviously ditched that goal. So then I got a real life job, and then then I'm sick of that. So this came back to mind, and then that's when I met Alan and all that stuff. So that's when we collaborated. But we want to create. Our natural goal is to create and give people, our what's in our brains and all that stuff. So I've always loved films. I've always big film guy. I love Quentin Tarantino. Obviously, you see the big Once Upon a Time in Hollywood poster back there. I'm a big fan of him and the way he does stuff. So you're going to get a little bit of that, what he kind of has in his story and a little bit of the genre, zombie genre as well. And I'm a
Okay.
mixture of everything, and I like to put it all into one.
All right. So if Hollywood calls tomorrow and says, "Hey, we're going to turn this movie into a film," what actors would you get to play the main characters? Like, who do you have in mind?
It's crazy because I never really like thought of it yet, because it's somebody, because it's like it's a hard question for me, because all the three brothers that are in this story are kind of have a little bit of pieces in me and and kind of like me and my like family and all that stuff, because that's kind of like what art is. It's what it brings. It's like home to you. So it's hard to find, because obviously Andy's roughly 24 years old. So I'm trying to I don't know any young 24-year-old actors that I could think of that could play him right now. I really don't. I wish I had an answer. It's really not a question, or it's something that kind of pops into my head. I think of Andy as Andy, just in the comic book here. I don't ever think of him as a live action yet. Not that I don't want that, because obviously that would be a huge accomplishment if this became like a series or something like that. But obviously, I just haven't thought of it really.
Okay. Dead or alive? Who in the comic book industry? Who would you like to work with?
Comic book industry.
Or we'll broaden it a little more. Just who would you like to make a comic book with? Dead or alive?
I mean, Quentin Tarantino, I don't know if he's obviously not in the comic industry or anything like that, but I just love his projects. He puts a lot of real into his projects, and that's something that I would love to incorporate, that I try to incorporate in Avalon and all the projects that I plan on working in the future, is real conversations, real life, real people, you're going to hate people for real reasons, like, why you hate this person. These are all going to be real problems. Like with Avalon, there's real problems. These characters, I believe, and I hope other people believe as well, that I believe that they have real problems. They just seem like real people. They talk real. They act real and all that stuff. It's just, I would say him. He's a big inspiration on the way I think about creation and all that stuff. I just want to apply so much realism into my projects. So I would have to say him. And although he is not in the comic industry, but if you want me to pick somebody in the comic industry, I would definitely say Robert Kirkman. Easy. Yeah. Because he kind of has something similar in that regard too. It's real life, like with The Walking Dead, it's real. They can and all that stuff. So it's just, I would, if I had to pick somebody in the comic world, I'd say Robert Kirkman for sure. Okay.
What advice would you give to newcomers that want to get into making comics?
Just do it. I don't mean to like quote Nike there. I don't really care, but just do it. It's the easiest thing you could do, because there's a lot of crap that comes with it. There's a lot of like stuff that'll push you away from it, and don't get what is the word I'm looking for? Just don't. I mean, because it's not going to happen immediately. It's not, because you're going to go through a lot of obstacles. That all that reassurance is going to get pushed away. You just do it. Just simply do it. You do it because you love it. You want. Not even really just for the audience. You're doing it for you as well. So I told, like, me and Alan were talking about a while ago, and we have the same mentality as, we're going to make this comic regardless. Obviously, it would be awesome to have a fan base, because it supports it a lot better. But it's nice to see what's in my head come out in physical form, paper and all that stuff. It's what I love. It's what he loves. If you love it, just simply do it. It's a hobby. Just find a way to support the hobby. Just work overtime if you have to. Work. Support it. It's like you desire to create, do it.
Okay. So did you fund the book fully first, then Kickstart it?
No, we used the Kickstarter, which is a problem though, especially now. It is a hard hobby to kind of go in and all that stuff. But if you love it enough, you'll do it, and you'll find ways to do it. Like we found the Kickstarter, and we used the Kickstarter to fund this first issue. And it's going to be probably a little bit different with issue 2, because we do have some sales, we do have some money and all that stuff, but we need the more money to print, to promote, to do get out there as much as possible. So that's why we're going to continue the Kickstarters, because then we can make more things, we can get it out there to more people and stuff like that. So the support and the money definitely helps. But like I said, if we didn't have the support, we're making it anyways. It's just going to be bigger gaps, you know.
Yeah. What advice would you give to people to run a successful Kickstarter?
So the Kickstarter is weird for us because we're new. I don't know much. The first Kickstarter we did was for issue 1. We don't know much about it. We were just using it as a tool, like we've said in the past. We've used it as a tool to kind of get us what we need to get it out there. And the plan. So what we're planning on doing different now is adding more information, adding more rewards, more things you could kind of get and all that stuff. And now we have more money to promote the Kickstarter. We didn't have anything at all to do anything with the Kickstarter. So it's kind of word of mouth for us in the beginning, friends, families. That's who we're aiming towards. But now with what we're going to do different now is we're going to still do the friends and family because they're supportive and all that stuff. So, but we're also going to try and stretch it out since we put our foot in the door in that world now. So we know a little bit of what we got going on there. So that's kind of where our head's at with that. It's more of a tool to kind of get us what we need to get it out faster. Like I said, we're going to do it no matter what, but more money we have, the faster we can get it out.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Just all the support we can get would be awesome. We thank everybody who does. We try to be as personable as we can with everybody who supports us and all that stuff as much as we can. Any questions, we're always open for people to give their opinions on it as well. We love to hear back from everybody. So anybody who wants to talk to us, please do. We're basically everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Redbubble, and all that stuff on Shopify as well. We have a link tree in all of our social media, so you can find us basically everywhere. Just, I guess, stay tuned, and I think issue 2 is going to be very exciting. Just issue 1 sets up everything, and issue 2 is going to be pretty exciting. We're excited about issue 2 as well.
Do you have a favorite page in issue 1?
Favorite page in issue 1. I mean, I'm gonna say the last page, just because the whole layout of it, not because the color itself, but I'm gonna say the last page because the layout it has. I'm gonna roll with the last page just because of the layout. It's a very intense scene there. It kind of just pops out and it shows you what's to come, and it shows you the difference of our infected, I guess, or zombies, however you want to call it. It shows the difference, but it also shows the traditional. It's a mixture of both. We're not going too far out of the world because we're not trying to change the genre. We're just trying to make a different version of it. But you see that there's some obvious differences in the features and all that stuff. So it's a pretty intense scene, and the artist did a very good job at that. Will
you ever say the word zombie?
That was I don't think so. I'm gonna say I don't think so. That was kind of the beginning thing, and it's just kind of like a weird thing. I just no, probably not. Probably not.
All right, Brandon. I appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me today.
No, I appreciate you having me. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to get involved in this, this industry, this world, and all that stuff. And I like talking to everybody and kind of like people like you and meeting people like you and all that stuff, and then getting our stuff out there as much as possible.
Well, thank you.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comic Chat Authority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.